I'm curious, when we look at those four groups, since you wrote the book, China, I think we'd all agree, has changed significantly. Perhaps, I think, best described maybe being in decline in many ways, and disconnecting from the West. And it's also, I believe, when you look at the countries you studied, perhaps one of the only modern authoritarian countries to, perhaps have an ability to take the crown if they were to continue. So, two-part question: how does everything you've learned and studied impact your thinking when one person, an authoritarian, Xi Jinping, is running China and disconnecting it from the rest of the world in terms of their ability? And then, do you consider this, if they did succeed in becoming the dominant power in the world, what do you think that does for humanity?
There are a bunch of questions in there, yeah. So I'll try to remember them and take them once at a time. I think China's going to be a big power for the foreseeable future. I think the basic picture in China, the United States, the emergence of India, and so on, is the world order is going to change in a very profound way. We can't say who's going to be the winner and the loser of this game, but I think we do know that this conflict is going to be with us, and it's totally changing the world order. When you're asking, like, who's going to be the winner of this game, I'll tell you history. In the history of democracy, as Plato described in the Republic, there's a cycle, and one of the great vulnerabilities of democracies is the disorderliness, the anarchy that comes from a conflict. And so you're asking me to compare democracy and also what I'll call capitalism with authoritarianism and let's call it communism, that version of it.
Or quasi-capitalism, maybe.
But we know what we mean.
Yeah.
Okay. So, so when the risk of capitalism is when you have the wealth gap clash and the opportunity gap clash, and the risk, and that produces risk for democracy. So, in the 30s, four major democracies, because of that dynamic, their parliaments chose to be autocracies. That happened in Germany, Italy, Spain, and Japan. So both have risks. I came from, and we've all been blessed with this amazing environment, that equal opportunity, the ability to be creative, rule of law, civility. But if we risk those things, in both of those, then we have a great risk. So on this war, I think it depends more on how we are with our circumstances to be strong and capable, and relative to them. It certainly is going to be a test of the systems.
Yeah. So in a way, us focusing inward on what we do here in America with our democracy and making it high function is as important as managing our relationship with China. And if you were to look at China and India, and those two countries specifically, and you were to handicap them, as you are uniquely qualified to do, maybe you could just broadly handicap India versus China for us.